As Luke said, I will be talking about consumer behavior. And consumer behavior is one of these things that we have to pay attention to because, well, if you listen to the main financial people or the main people in the financial world, they'll tell you that 50% of your time should be spent on studying finances, and the other 50% of time should be spent on studying psychology and learning about that because it is directly linked to what happens in the financial world. And by analyzing something like consumer behavior, an example, myself, I can really recognize patterns that represent the entire market and where I can make good decisions for the future with my money. Now, if we look at an example, this is about 2 weeks ago, a picture of myself. My girlfriend told me that now that restaurants are open, I should shave my head and shave my beard and make myself look a little bit more presentable to take her out for dinner. Now, on our way to the restaurants, we walk by all these pubs and bars that had their doors open during the rain, sitting outside were all these girls and guys that had dressed up with their nicest clothes, and it was simply remarkable to see how determined people are really to drink. Either way, me and my girlfriend had a fantastic evening. We sat in the restaurant and enjoyed our dinner, but I realized that it was pretty full in the restaurant and that these crowded places don't really suit me anymore after sitting at home for a year and a half, because I just like to pay less for my drinks. I can get a beer for £1, but if I go to a pub, I pay 4. Now, similarly, I could save some money on food because throughout the pandemic, I've been working out a lot, so I look very similar to this guy, and I can really cook, and my girlfriend loves it, so why the heck would I stop with that? Similarly, we've been organizing a whole bunch of drink parties where I've learned how to master serving drinks. All in all, what this tells you is that I've become the perfect guy throughout the pandemic, but also that I'm not really interested in the typical things that I've been interested in before the pandemic actually started. Now, how does this link back to psychology? Well, I brought you the term financial psychology, which says it is the study of the mind and behavior as it relates to spending, saving, and investing decisions. Now, if you look at how I've behaved throughout the pandemic, you can recognize similar patterns to probably yourself or other people that you've talked to. And this is something that we really have to analyze because it gives us great insight. Now, if we refer to a model, I again feel like a lecturer in university that I was so happy to leave, but here I am doing the exact same thing. This is the curve that explains what you go through when change happens. As humans, we are fundamentally averse to change. We don't like when change happens. So our first reaction when we hear that we have to sit in our room for the next year and a half is we don't want to believe it. We don't think that this is something that we want to do, so we throw our entire weight against it. After about 6 months of being in a pandemic, we realize that this is just something that we have to deal with. It's becoming our reality. And sooner or later, we try to find ways to adapt our lifestyle towards the necessary requirements. Then, the last thing that happens is because we're becoming so familiar with these processes is that we commit fully to the change that has happened. For example, myself, realizing that I don't really want to be around a whole bunch of people unless it's in a club. And I don't really want to go to a shopping center because there's so many people there. Everybody's trying to get this bug out of their system. But at the end of the day, I don't really enjoy it anymore. Now, this is something that a consumer product can be a very perfect example for. The next clothing line, they supply clothing for lower income people, early 20s, early 30s, our type of age, the people in this group. And they are a shop that has a lot of shops on the high street or in shopping malls. However, myself as a consumer, over this pandemic, without going to Next, I've realized that I can just go to the internet and find myself one of these shirts that fits my body type exactly and accentuates all the muscles that I've gained throughout this time. And if you would take a bet, who's going to get the money? The person that can supply me the exact thing that I want, or shop like Next where I walk into 5 times, and 4 out of those 5 times I won't buy anything because I couldn't find the exact fit? Well, most likely I'm going to go to the internet. This is different with a shop like Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton, you walk in, a doorman opens the door for you, you get followed by a personalized assistant that shows you all the products and encourages you to take stories and post on the internet so other people can see you. They want you to share this experience and brag about all the money that you're spending in Louis Vuitton, just like Jaden Smith is doing here. It's a lifestyle. You should brag about it. And the luxury stores, they know this and they promote this. And this is why they will stay relevant on the market or in a shopping mall with physical activities. Different, however, to Next, again, is Primark. They're a very cheap clothing supplier. You can buy your shirts and your pants for £1, but you also can buy a pillow and a cover for your bed. So it's pretty much all-around supplier for everything that you need. And you walk into this store with no particular goal in mind. You want to see what they have. You have only a few bucks to spare, but you still need a new outfit. And this is something that you always enjoy, and we as consumers love to do, just browse around in Primark. Similarly, think about IKEA. How great is it going to IKEA and finding new things for your house? The IKEA experience wouldn't be the same if you couldn't be there physically. So the IKEA store will always persevere. But thinking back to Next, what about them? They're not really that relevant. They are competing with the internet at a very, very high level. So a company like Next is obviously analyzing these things, and they've decided to shift their entire business model towards more online sales. They are not planning to reopen all their stores. They are looking for new warehousing and shipping techniques to make them more efficient and keep up the revenue stream that they've been creating over the past few years. Now, investors hear a statement like this, and as always, they think Next isn't the only one. So what will this essentially lead to? Yes, there's a hype right now because people want to get this out of their system of the coronavirus, but over the period of time, a lot of shopping places are expected to close. So shopping malls will look something like this. Empty shopping malls with nobody renting the places that they have to offer. And this is only the first domino to fall. If shopping malls close all of their stores or they have no renters, this is a first indication for commercial real estate to drop. So a whole bunch of big investors throughout the world, because of a press release like Next saying that they're shifting their business model, are now shorting the commercial real estate market because they think the prices will drop due to companies like Next not paying their bills and moving out entirely and shifting their business model. And this is just one example. Think about pasta or quesadillas or mozzarella sticks. What do these things have in common? Well, you might have guessed that they all have cheese in them. Something that you also might think about is these aren't really things that you spend a whole bunch of money on except you're in a restaurant. I don't buy mozzarella sticks unless I'm out and I really want to treat myself. And this is reflected in the entire market. The price of cheese over the course of the pandemic, and if you want to learn more about commodities, look at the presentation that we've done on them, but the price of cheese in the first lockdown dipped tremendously. And then once the lockdown lifted again, it spiked, almost over doubling its price. With another lockdown, the price dipped again, and then spiked once we opened in November. And now we're at a very, very interesting place where we had a recent spike with lockdowns being lifted at a global scale. Now, yes, this is cheese. You could go and buy a whole bunch of cheese and it would be potentially a great investment. But think a bit further. Think of the entire dominoes to fall. Agriculture. The lorries that drive around the products that the agriculture produces. These are all areas affected by the surge in cheese demand that we can predict. Additionally, this is a funny thing, but also interesting. The UK has run out of beer, right? Too many people are running to the pub and ordering beers. So As a result, I went and checked out the Heineken stock, which has spiked over the last week for about 7%, just because people are ordering so much more beer and we are addicted to these consumer behaviors. Now, what does this tell us? It really shows us that each and every one of us has our specific consumer patterns. By analyzing the ways that we behave, we can really see what is happening throughout the market. It is a reflection of our own behavior. Now, by analyzing this in a critical way and thinking 2 or 3 steps further, we can see how potentially other market areas can affect the financial world and our investments. By thinking in a specific manner and making these predictions and analyzing how we behave as a society and what changes are being made or ingrained in us over the course of time, we can potentially use that as leverage to create great opportunities for ourselves and our investment. Does anyone have any questions? Hi there. Thank you so much for watching our video. I hope you really enjoyed it and I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, please let us know in the comment box. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you can learn more about our channel. Thank you very much and see you next time.